What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with your post-game gut reactions on CHTV's social channels after another dominant victory from your beloved Green Bay Packers, 27-18, and it wasn't that close yet again. The Packers controlled this game from the jump. And look, I said this on Twitter. I'll say it here. The fact that the Packers have jumped out to this 2-0 lead in the division, in the conference, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it, 2-0 right out of the gate in two dominating performances on a short week, no less, with so much room for improvement, something we heard from Matt LaFleur at the podium just now. That is exciting stuff if you're a Packers fan, because let me tell you something. Right now, that's a championship level defense. That's exactly what it is. This is not, what was it, 2018? Aaron Rodgers saying we got a defense, and then it ends up, oh, you don't really have a defense. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Packers have a defense. Now, they're not going to be able to blank everybody the way they have in the first three quarters of the last two games. But, man, you talk about a unit that is on fire right out of the gate. And, again, room for improvement, no doubt about it. There is little doubt in my mind the Packers are a team to beat. I'm not saying they're the team to beat. There's a long way to go. But, man, that was not a mirage against the Lions last Sunday. The Packers controlled this game from the opening drive. And I understand not coming away with points on that opening drive is certainly disappointing, especially when you only need 3 yards on fourth down. You're gunning for the end zone. I understand that frustration. But guess what? They didn't pay for it because they knew they had the defense to stand up and keep them in the game at basically all times. The fact that they controlled Jaden Daniels through the majority of that contest is incredible. He is an absolute weapon in this league, a guy who has, I'm not going to say had his way with most defenses that he's faced in the NFL, but he's certainly been able to come up with the play, the throw, the moment against each and every opponent that he has faced. That was nowhere to be found against the Green Bay Packers. I know a lot of kind of the headlines and narratives coming off this game will undoubtedly focus on, especially on the defensive side, with some of the performances such as Keyshawn Nixon, who should get all the flowers after this game. I thought he played outstanding ball. You're going to talk and hear a lot about the guys up front. Of course, Micah Parsons will be a headline. He should be. He was outstanding yet again in a limited role. But, man, there are guys like Javon Bullard, who was fantastic tonight, triggering every time he saw something underneath and limiting any potential gain and keeping the offense behind the sticks by doing so. There are going to be moments pointed to where frustrations on offense about the lull in the third quarter, 3 and outs, what have you. But the way they went on multiple long, time-consuming drives to score touchdowns, that is a team in control of the football game. I can't really contain my excitement. I know I try to be level-headed. I have so many people who talk to me both online and in real life about how I keep them level-headed. I'm trying right now. I'm trying real hard to stay level-headed. But let me tell you something. This team is going to be a problem for each and every team they face in the 2025 NFL season. I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated. I'm not saying they're going to go on some huge magical run. Got to go 1-0 every week. They got to go on the road. Their next two games on the road. Very different environment. Very different thing going on. But the fact they played as well as they did, down 2 starters on the offensive line, by the way, on a short week, and again, controlled the game from the jump. Exciting times in Titletown. It's real. Don't get it twisted. I understand all the misgivings, all the complaints, the special teams, the lulls on offense, some of the stuff given up on defense. I get it. It's legit. I understand. I'm not saying you're crazy for thinking about it or for complaining. I understand. I just want you to know, laying over all of that is a really good fucking football team that is going to be a major problem for the rest of the league for the duration of this season. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And now I want to share that excitement with you guys. Everybody joining in. Look, we got tons of people chatting it up. What's going on, everybody? Let's get to your questions and comments here. Keegan, thanks for the super chat. As soon as Augie from Kettle laid down the sauce on the anthem, I knew it was a dub. He was great. I hope you saw the kind of pre-anthem that he did at Kettle earlier I believe it was last week before he went to Green Bay. Outstanding stuff. Cheesehead Joey, what's up, man? Thank you, Jerry. How phenomenal was that? The thank you, Jerry chants at Lambeau Field as Micah Parsons is sitting there on set for Amazon. Come on. Doesn't get better. Doesn't get better. Love it. Raha, thanks for the super chat. Somehow that performance felt both dominant and sloppy. Watch out when this team fires on all cylinders. LaFleur agrees with you. He mentioned that in his post-game presser. So much to work on. So much sloppiness that, as a coach, you love it because you get a dominant victory. You get your guys feeling good after a 2-0 start, but you got a ton that you can get after them about on Monday when they're back in the building. Yes, you're not wrong. There was a lot of sloppiness. Now, again, you're playing with two linemen who aren't your regular starters, although Jordan Morgan is a nominal starter, depending on the week, probably. And there's no doubt that there were a lot of issues on offense, whether it was the run game, the blocking in the run game, some of the efficiency with some of the decision-making from Jordan Love, really trying. And I love Matt trying to take that bullet. He's asked post-game about, or is that the cost of doing business, having a quarterback who really wants to push the ball down the field? And he says, well, some of it's the play calling too. It's like there are options. You're not calling like 4 verts every play, Matt. Your quarterback wants to push the ball down the field, and that's awesome. I'm not hating on it. But it's like, yeah, Jordan's a bit of a gunslinger, and you saw that a bunch tonight. Of course, sometimes that means you're going to go 3 and out. You're going to have unproductive drives. But when you've got a defense like this, you can play like that. They're going to hold up their end of the bargain. And that was the other thing. The final touchdown the Packers scored came at the exact moment they most desperately needed complementary football. They absolutely needed a drive to score points. And I thought, if they score 3, they're good. And they ended up scoring 7. That's something we didn't see last year, especially against the better teams in the NFC that they faced off against. That's exciting stuff. Complementary football in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Let's go. Cade, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Hafley's best is yet to come. Imagine Prime Rodgers with this defense. No question, man. That would be lights out for the league. I have little doubt about that. Ryan Dent, what's up, man? Thanks for super chat. I can't wait to see this Packers team play a team that's actually bad or even mediocre. Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational Packers defense. I'll tell you what, against the Browns, I know a lot of people will look at that and say, oh, this is a team they should wax, right? Man, that's going to be a tough game. And I don't want to hear anything else. That is going to be a tough contest. So I've seen a couple, and Ryan, I'm not calling you out, but I've seen a couple people, more than a couple people, make this kind of illusion, right? Matt is not incorrect. You got to go 1-0 every week, and the league will humble you quick. You get up for these 2 big games, short week, NFC opponents, primetime matchup tonight. You win those games, you're feeling pretty good. You go to Cleveland and lose, man, that narrative changes real quick. And they can beat you. They got a ton of talent, especially on defense. Their coach is good. They got a veteran quarterback. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. They got to go 1-0 in the next week. Rick Ward, thanks for the super chat. Nixon. You're not wrong. I want to address the gentleman who, during, I think it was a comment on CHTV.com earlier this morning, wrote that last week against the Lions, Nixon was a liability. You really need to learn what words mean. He got beat like a couple of times, no doubt about it. Amon-Ra St. Brown beat him for a slant. Gave up, I believe, a couple of more completions. Sometimes he's in the zone. Once or twice he's in man. He still played a hell of a game against Detroit. And then you fast forward to tonight. Nixon was excellent. Nixon showed you why the Packers believe in him and how well he can play at that position, perimeter corner. I think he had 3, maybe 4 pass breakups. Guy was everywhere tonight. He was excellent. Keyshawn Nixon is a dog, and he is so much better than his haters give him credit for. Joe, what's up, man? Got to start 2-0 to go 17-0. Truer words were never spoken. Shannon, thanks for becoming a Care of the G Club member. Greatly appreciate you. Oh, we got that. I got Shannon. All right, here we go. Hello from England. Go Pack Go. Danny, thanks for checking out the stream on Twitter, because that's what it's called, by the way. Soder, thanks for the super chat, man. Feels a lot like 1996. Man, Jordan can spin it. He can. And, Soder, I've been trying not to go there in my mind, but you're not wrong. It does kind of feel like it. Now, I think they were a little more polished coming out of the gate in 96. Like, I keep thinking about that early season game against the Eagles where Favre hits Edgar Bennett on a wheel route up the right sideline. And at that moment, I knew the Packers were going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not there with this team yet, but I tell you what, there is zero doubt in my mind this is a contender. We're watching a Super Bowl contender. So many ups and downs throughout a season. Obviously, health plays a monster role, but this is a Super Bowl contender. Of that, I am certain. And in that way, it does feel like 96. I agree with you there, man. Gregory, what's up? LVN is showing out lately. I tell you what, there was a moment during Watch Party where, Corey and I are talking about the defense and the job the line is doing, the pressure they're getting, and the way they're constricting the pocket, etc. And then you look, and both Parsons and Gary are on the sideline. And LVN is wrecking shop. LVN is your third option coming off the bench to rush the passer and or even play the run, be physical up front. I am down with it. I am liking it. It does not suck. Mimsy, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. This game wasn't remotely close. I'm shocked. Yeah, I saw Greg Rosenthal from NFL Media, he said it's 27-18, and it wasn't, it never even felt remotely like it was that close, ever. And that's why I said at the top, the Packers controlled this game from the jump. Professor Flex, what's up, man? Not even close to peaking, and we are already scary. That's 100% my takeaway from the first 2 games within, 4 or 5 days. This team has dominated both games out of the gate and has a ton of work to do. If you're a coach, you fucking love it, right? If you're a fan, enjoy the ride. I get there are going to be frustrations. I understand there are moments that they could have done something. They probably, as LaFleur himself said at the podium tonight, there were multiple ample opportunities to put that game away and get like Malik Willis some snaps, right? They did not capitalize on that. But opportunity was only available because they dominated yet again. Tim Judge, what's up, man? King Tuck. Yes, Tucker Kraft. His first 100-yard plus game. It does help when you have a 57-yarder right out of the gate. But, man, between the big plays and then just the physical play, running through dudes, the way he threw a guy off of him, really, used his momentum against him to throw him off and then, run through another guy. Oh, touchdowns. I mean, Tucker Kraft. What can you say? And look, Luke Musgrave contributed as well. Absolutely love it. Klaus, how are you, man? Thanks for super chat and thanks for staying awake across the pond. This is great to wake up to. Okay, so you did sleep. Okay, very good. I know you're over there across the world, so I'm glad you're here with us. And yes, it was excellent. As good and as wonderful as you think it was better. RCS, how are you, man? Thanks for super chat. Ladies and gents, Sterling Sharpe, what a night. Didn't get to see a ton of the ceremony, but man, seeing him smiling, getting the ring, and then seeing his name on the facade next to Bobby Dillon. Oh, outstanding. I tell you what, 12-year-old Aaron was geeking out because that was my guy. To this day, I still say he's the best wide receiver I've ever watched with my own two eyes in a Packers uniform. And that's no shade to Devontae, James Lofton, any of them. Sterling was a man among boys, and to see him honored and get immortalized at Lambeau Field and to see him in attendance with a franchise where there's been friction. He's talked about it, no question. There's been friction. To see him get that moment, and you guys know, if you follow this channel for any length of time, I have been banging that drum for at least a decade. How it was positively absurd that he wasn't in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. To see him get that recognition tonight at Lambeau Field, to see his name up there for all time now, well-deserved, Sterling. Welcome home. You're the fucking man. Doug Hype, how are you, man? I love every single player on this team. Nixon, wow. How good was Nixon, right? I'm glad to see Nixon getting some love, man, because he did, yes, play a good game, but he has played lots of good games without getting the recognition he's getting tonight. Good stuff. Isaac, appreciate the super sticker. Abdul, how are you, buddy? Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Aaron, how would you attack the Packers if you were an opponent, or do you not see any weaknesses? There's always weaknesses. There's always approaches. I would hope that I have a power running game, and I would try and stay ahead of the sticks, because the more you get into 3rd and 7s, 8s, what have you, the more trouble you're in. You saw that repeatedly tonight. You know, when the Commanders were in 3rd and 3, they had a chance. That didn't mean that there was an automatic. They hit some, converted some of those. But what were they at? 3rd down conversions were absurd for the Commanders tonight. Hold on. 3rd down. The Commanders were 5 of 16. That's 31%. 31%. 5 of 16. I would probably guess that many of those were in the intermediate range. When it was 3rd and 7 or more, Micah Parsons and everybody up front made their life absolute hell, which is why, to your question, how would I attack the Packers? Especially, I would attack the Packers defense. I would try to run power. I would try to run counter. I would try to run as much as I possibly could, take the air out of the game, get myself into at least a 3rd manageable, and then try to make something happen with a screen game or something in the flat, what have you. Get a guy in space. Now it's good luck with Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker all over the map, but I just think if you try to throw it around the yard against this team, you are asking for trouble. So I would 100% try to play Marty Schottenheimer ball, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Make the game as short as possible. I think that's your best chance against this team on defense. Vin V, what's up, man? 2 wins in 5 days. Excellent victory week. Life is good. It doesn't suck, right? Doesn't suck. Alex, thanks for the super chat. This team is damn good. Go Pack Go. You are correct. Russ, what's up? Call him Frost Nixon because he's cold. I thought you were going to go somewhere with the play/movie Frost Nixon, but I like that. That works. Well done. Isaac, thanks again. 5 pass breakups? I assume you're talking about Nixon, because it felt like he had at least 20. Matt, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. We have Keyshawn Nixon and Micah Parsons. And Love's coming out with a fire, man. Good or bad, it's a fire that I love. Go, Gomer Pyle, go. Yes, I had to pull out the Gomer Pyle during the watch party. Man, talk about fire from Jordan Love. I absolutely fucking loved his running through a defensive guy with his shoulder. And I understand, no doubt, everyone on the Packers sideline, probably everyone in the building who's a Packers fan or employee or whatever, probably held their breath a little bit. You talk about, charging not just your team, but the building with your desire to win, to make that first down, to get that ability that opportunity to score those opening points, and then get up and tell the crowd to get loud. Man, you talk about willing it and Jordan wanting it, man. That was awesome to see. I fucking love that. And I understand the trepidation some people might have. Oh, I don't want him taking that hit. I don't want him putting himself in danger. I love the competitiveness. I love a guy who wants to compete and wants that smoke, so to speak, wants to be physical at the quarterback position. How many times, if you're of a certain age, did you hear about, oh, Brett Favre, he plays the quarterback position like a linebacker? Well, that's kind of what Jordan was doing. And I fucking love it, man. I absolutely love it. Chad, thanks for the super chat. The most exciting thing about this game is that different players stepped up this week. These young guys are starting to put it together. If they start stacking successes, I've heard that before, the future looks bright. Chad, you're not wrong. It was great, though, to also see some consistency as far as Josh Jacobs in the end zone, Romeo Doubs in the end zone. I mean, Doubs, with that move at the line of scrimmage for the first touchdown, that move he put on the defensive back, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to replay that in my mind all night. It was excellent. Ronnie, thanks for the super chat. Is the fourth quarter a concern? No. They have complete control of the game. They're keeping everything in front of them. They're making the defense, or I'm sorry, the opposing offense work down the field, not allowing any cheap things downfield, big plays, whatever, letting them use the clock. You saw, I mean, once it was just, I think they used their final timeout with like 2:30 or whatever remaining. That game was over. Even they go down and score a touchdown, the game was over once they use their final timeout on the other side of the 2-minute warning. No, they have and these last 2 weeks, they've had complete control of the game by the time. That's the other thing. By the time they scored a touchdown, by the time the opponent scored a touchdown, whether it was against Detroit or tonight against Washington, by the time the opponent scored a TD, the Packers had complete control of the game. I mean, you can worry about it if you want, man, but I was never worried. I was never worried last week. I was never worried tonight. That's a team playing while controlling the game. And that's something we heard from Brian Gutekunst at the end of last year that not a lot of people remember. Everything was kind of focused on the urgency quote that Brian had, right? We have a sense of urgency, etc., blah, blah, blah. But what he also said that day was this team has to control football games and find a way to, salt them away or win them in the end. They've done that these 2 weeks. They've completely controlled the football games that they've played, and they've absolutely controlled the game at the end and won those games. That was not happening last year. It's happened twice already this season. Braden, how are you? Thanks for the super chat. This offense hasn't even unlocked its full potential yet. Wishing Reed a speedy recovery, a fully healthy. Ooh, baby. Yes, I don't think I mentioned that at the top, but for those of you who may have missed it, Matt LaFleur indicating, or not even indicating, saying outright, Jaden Reed has a broken collarbone. However, he did say they expect him back at some point late this season. So completely sucks, especially on what should have been an amazing touchdown play, but it was called back because of a legitimate hold. It wasn't even a phantom call. That was a legit call. You hate to see it, especially after such a good start last week, big touchdown, etc. And then to have what should have been an amazing touchdown catch. And then not only is it wiped away by penalty, he broke his collarbone. So Jaden Reed will be out for a while, but I'll tell you what, that should give Matthew Golden, Savion Williams a lot more opportunities going forward. And I think you saw some of that tonight. Savion getting a couple looks as far as just the direct snap play obviously was huge. That was great conversion. But a couple end around plays, and I think you'll see him get more and more involved from the slot. It sucks. It sucks for Reed, but these rookies look like they're ready for, more involvement, chance to step up, things of that nature. CJ, what's up, man? The offense felt like it had its blunders, but still scored 27 points. Also, Amazon stole your Art Thou Romeo saying for Dobbs TD during highlights. I mean, it's not exactly original. I mean, Romeo, wherefore art thou? I'm in the end zone. I get it. Like, that's, I don't think I'm not worried about Amazon pilfering Shakespeare. It's not like, taking a homegrown, passion-filled project like, say, brewing your own beer in honor of your favorite local sports team, and then some like national, if not international, conglomerate taking one of their subsidiaries and saying, you see that? Copy that, and then go sell it. And they have no recourse. It's not quite the same, Similar, but not quite the same. Steve, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Great live stream, Nags. Inhale. Let's be groovily positive and optimistic. Cough. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic. And I don't think optimism is uncalled for here. It's a really good fucking football team. Nick, thanks for the super chat. Really excited to see Wyatt stepping up in the middle of that D-line. The hustle end of game was chef's kiss. Hope he keeps progressing. I thought he played well last week, but I thought tonight he was all over the place in a good way. Absolutely agreed. Joey, what's up, man? Kraft, player of the game. Williams and Cooper looking awesome. Yeah, Kraft will certainly get the headlines, like I said. There are a lot of great performances tonight. I think Kraft should get the nod, though, because that big 57-yarder completely flipped that field position, allowed them to score a touchdown. Obviously, he got in the end zone, but there were a bunch of really good performances on both sides of the ball. KD, what's up, man? Jordan was pushing it downfield, but he never really put the ball in harm's way. I think he played a great game. I very much agreed. Look, after 16 years of Aaron Rodgers being as careful as he was and kind of risk averse at times, it does feel a little weird, right, to watch a quarterback be somewhat, to your point, nothing was too in harm's way, but pushing that ball downfield with such regularity, it's a little odd, right? We're not used to that. But, man, it's exciting. That's why I pay to see the games. It's why you come out to the ball game. He's exciting, man. And for the most part, I think he does make really good decisions. I think more often than not, this season so far through these two games, the real, quote, mistakes have been few and far between. Albert the Wise Crow, thank you for becoming a Care the G Club member. Appreciate the support. Dustin, what's up? Please tell Kevin Schillig his 49ers are trash. Okay, I will pass along the message. Tom Callahan, thanks for the super chat. Going to be in Green Bay for Bengals at Packers. Would love to meet you. Tom, appreciate that. I will be in Green Bay at some point in October. I'm not sure which game yet. Bengals are a possibility, though. Just keep an eye out for the CHTV social medias. We will have an announcement sooner rather than later. Jesse, yes. Van Ness getting after it. Wooden and Wyatt deserve so much needed praise. Zachary, you are not lying. Both of them played their ass off tonight, no doubt. Wise Crow, what's up? Glad I could become a member and go Pack Go. Well, thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. Truffle Shuffle, what's going on? For the first time since 2010, 2011, I feel like we are a contender, not just a team that makes the playoffs, and we got to hope for bounces. Very much agreed. Now, there's a long way to go. Whole lot of ball game left, right? But yes, 2-0, looking at how they've looked in command of both of these games pretty much throughout. This is a contender. Zero doubt about it. And look, that probably wouldn't be the case if Micah Parsons wasn't a member of this football team. That is a big swing by Gutekunst, and so far, it's looking prophetic. And it's looking like it's doing exactly what it was intended to do as far as take this team over that hump that you're talking about. From becoming a team that, probably does need a bounce or two. Hopefully they're playing their best ball in December, going into the playoffs, etc. To this team's a problem for everybody. Absolutely love it. RCS, what's up? Who comes up in the absence of Reed? Like I said, I think they're rookies. I think Savion Williams and Matthew Golden, they were drafted for a reason. They were drafted with premium picks. They're going to get opportunities. Now, that doesn't mean we won't see a Malik Heath. Like, hell, tonight, what a play. I mean, the whole game, kind of the fulcrum of that whole game is almost kind of on that play. That's an outstanding catch from Malik Heath to keep that drive alive and, somewhat flip the field from Packers in their own end to the Commanders' end. But yeah, I suspect you're going to see a lot more Savion Williams more than anything. Doug Hype, what's up? LVN equals Leviathan. Word. Chris, what's up, man? There were a few plays today where Micah and LVN both had the fastest jump on the ball I've ever seen, and they just mirrored each other. LVN is working hard. I very much agree, especially there were a couple of times where he was lined up over Tunsil, of all people, LVN, I mean, and he was just lightning at the snap. There was one particular play. I got to go back and look at it, but there was one play in particular where I think they were trying to set up a screen, but LVN was so quick off the ball and in like pushing Tunsil into the backfield that Daniels just had to release the football. And I think pretty clearly Tunsil's gig was, okay, I'm letting pressure in and then I'm going to release him and then get out for the screen. But because he was so quick off the ball and was in the backfield so quickly, Daniels just got rid of it. Yeah, Van Ness was serious tonight. Van Ness was very serious. Elliot, thanks for the super chat. Shout out to my buddy Sam. He's a Minnesota fan, convinced to wear a 69 jersey at the stadium tonight. Takes all kinds. Carlos, what's up? What do you attribute the offensive lulls? Well, lack of consistency can come from a lot of places. It can come from play calling, which I'm sure Matt would probably try to put the onus on him. Mostly, I suspect it's a lack of execution at different spots, whether that is the offensive line, which, by the way, don't forget, was playing 2 backups tonight. It might just be the defense finally starting to dictate or starting to do things that weren't in the game plan, i.e. the meeting rooms all week long. Oh, this is what they like to do. Now, you saw that certainly against the Lions. They switched up. They had started almost not exclusively, but a whole ton of man. And when the Packers took it to them in man, they started playing a lot more zone. Tonight, you saw Washington play, I would say, a pretty good mix. But in the second half especially, they started utilizing a hell of a lot more kind of combo blitzes, etc. And again, you've got a group up front that hasn't worked together a whole bunch. You've lost Jaden Reed, so maybe your game plan is a little different. Maybe you had a bunch of stuff called for him on the call sheet that now you've got to throw away. There's a lot of kind of ways that could go, right? But I will say, as I said earlier, they needed a drive to respond, and they did it. They took like 8 minutes off the clock and scored a touchdown. When they need to, they move the ball, and they score. Raha, what's up? Consistent pressure from the front 4 is chef's kiss. You ain't lying. You are not lying. Kevin, thanks for super chat, man. Great start to the season. As a fan, I can see why now it was always tough for Rodgers to play defenses who could rush 4 and still get a ton of pressure. As a fan, I'd always get frustrated. And anytime you asked Rodgers about that, he would say, got to be able to run the football. Hell, McCarthy would say, got to run the football. You got to run them out of that ability to play 4-man fronts and 2 high safeties. And if you can't do it, you're probably done. It's really tough, especially in this league where those guys up front are so athletic and so fast and so explosive. You don't have time to hold on to the ball. You got to get it out of your hands quickly. And it's interesting. There were a couple of times they got him with some blitzes. The Packers did. But there were also a handful of times, especially there was one down in the red zone where Hafley sent big pressure and, the quarterback gets hit, but Daniels gets it out of his hand, scores a touchdown. I think this team, the more they play coverage and the less they blitz, the better off they're going to be for exactly what you're talking about. It is tough on a quarterback. Soder, what's up, man? Most Packer thing to do is lay an egg against Cleveland. This unit doesn't give off this vibe. Sharpe catch against Detroit is on a loop in my head. You're 1,000,000,000% correct. It's called playing down to your opponent. And we have certainly seen that throughout Packers history. Certainly seen it in recent Packers history. And I am with you, though. I don't think this is that crew. But we'll see. Jake, what's up, man? You think they bring back Hardman for punts? Well, they don't need to bring him back. They just need to call him up from the practice squad. Impossibly. I mean, the Golden decision tonight was rough. And then they had to put Nixon back there. They need some better work from their kind of punt return units in general. I mean, it's hard. There wasn't a whole lot of room to maneuver there as a returner, but yeah, the golden decision was very, very unfortunate. It's got to let that bounce, kid. But yeah, maybe they bring Hardman up. It's possible. Brandon, thanks to Super Chat. I watched Bullard and Parsons get to Daniels a lot. They didn't even sack him that much, but what I did see was enough to know that the defense is for real. I mean, you are not lying. Bullard in particular, I think I said this at the top of the stream. He won't get a ton of praise. He won't get a ton of headlines. Probably won't be written or talked about a whole lot this week. But man, Bullard, that's the best performance I've seen from him in a Packers uniform. Spartan Warrior, what's up? Great game tonight. Ordered 2 of your Cheesehead TV t-shirts a little while back. Thanks a bunch. Power of love. Stay on target. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the support. Very much so. Bill, how are you, man? Thanks for Super Chat. What a great evening to celebrate Sterling. Absolutely. And how great is it to have a team that actually rises to the occasion and has a win, a somewhat comfortable win, as opposed to every time they would honor like Favre back in the day, like that the teams would just like wilt. Now, of course, Thanksgiving being the most obvious example, but just nice to have a great in the house, get to see a Packers victory that is, again, a pretty damn good performance all around. Reed had that classic broken collarbone walk. I mean, yeah, broken collarbone's no joke. Soder, what's up, man? At some point, they will miss Kenny inside, but wow. Will they, though? I love Kenny. You know, one of my favorite players of all time. Certainly my favorite modern Packer of the last 10 years, etc. But will they? We'll see. Again, as I was talking before to Abdul, that's, I would think, the way I would want to attack the Packers. Run power between the tackles. Chips fall where they may. Stay ahead of the sticks as much as possible. But we'll see. I tell you what, that rotation right now, starting with Wooden, they've been holding up pretty damn well. We shall see. 86 Train, what's up? When's the last time you've seen our defense fly around like this? Because I have never. I tell you what, man. Not anytime recently. Not anytime recently. And I don't want to get ahead of my skis. I don't want to like get too crazy after 2 games, but it's a special looking defense so far. Now we'll see. It's 2 weeks worth of tape. We'll see. Teams will start scheming them up, trying to take advantage of things, etc. But right now, yeah, as far as like, especially like 11 hats to the ball, all the guys flying to the ball, etc. Pretty rare stuff. Certainly not stuff we've seen in Green Bay with any regularity. Shuffle, thanks again. Joined a little late. Can you talk about how exciting it is to see Love so close to connecting numerous times on the long ball with Golden this early in the year? Yeah, man. I mean, that's the other thing. Corey talked about it a little bit on the stream, but man, that's something they hit, many times during camp. And of course, yeah, it was just a bit off today. Certainly could have had a touchdown there, but that'll come in time. The groove will be found. I have zero doubt about it. And the fact that Golden, with his insane speed, still got overthrown a little bit. Come on now. That's pretty phenomenal. That's Jordan Love just letting it rip. They'll find their groove. I have zero doubt about that. Lewis, thanks to the super sticker. Truly appreciated. Soder, thanks again. Heath was a stud tonight. Get him reps? I'm okay. I think he will get reps with Reed out. I mean, he's more of a perimeter guy than a slot guy, but you got to think that cascades down, right, for more opportunities. William, thank you. How do you think Matt will help Jordan adjust to the blitz? Seems like it gets him a bit. No, it gets other QBs as well. 2 dominant wins in 5 days. Go, Pack, go. I think they need more kind of get more to the crossers that, you saw. There was one play where they hit Dobbs on a shallow cross where they had run off the coverage and there wasn't a blitz and he was wide open and had a huge gain, etc. I would try to build more of those checks in to some of the, so you can get to those with any of the pressure looks in any of your kind of personnel / formations that you might have on offense where, okay, maybe so-and-so was doing a corner or maybe someone was going to a 15-yard dig or something like that. And then give Jordan the opportunity or the ability to say, okay, no, run a shallow cross and oftentimes it's not even that individualized. They'll just get to what they call like their cover zero beater or their blitz beater or what have you. Obviously, you want as many of those in the game plan as possible, and Jordan should and does have complete control. But also at the same time, don't forget, and I know this feels simple, but it's very true. They get paid too. And there's some really good coaches in the league coming at you, trying to take advantage of your rules, the things that you do or have put on tape. Oh, when people blitz, this is how they like to answer. Okay, let's take advantage of that. And then you mix and match through the next couple weeks and you're trying to adjust and blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to make it seem like, it's real easy, because it's not, obviously. But certainly that's something they're going to be working on, because, yes, the Commanders got them a couple times tonight. Hey, Chris, what's up? Also, I've been telling you, expect to win. Go, Pack, go. Champions fear no one. I fear no team, but I respect them all. John, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Got a bunch of super chats here left to go. Wood Class, what's up? Packers need to finish better. I want to see the defense not give up a garbage time touchdown or yards. Well, then I suggest you go back to 1996 when rosters were stacked, and that was a regular occurrence, because in the modern NFL, the game is just not set up for that. This ain't Madden, dude. It ain't like the 80s when you had like guys who could potentially be perennial all-pros on another team stacked on your deck, on your bench. It's just not how it works anymore, dude. I mean, I'd love it. Trust me, I'd love it. But more often than not, teams are going to score. The game is just set up. And the fact that the Packers have suppressed scoring for these first 2 weeks early in these games, as well as they have, tells you how good this defense is. I hear you, man. Yes, you would love that. Not too realistic in the modern NFL. I mean, hello. The Bills and the Ravens, considered two of the best teams in the NFL coming into this season, both put up 40 burgers the other night. You know what I mean? Like, man, I want to help you. I want to allay your fears, but that's the league, dude. I don't know. Like, the fact that they held them to 18 points, that's a game you should win, and the Packers did. Carl, what's up, man? Had a gig tonight and kept it because I feel good about a win. Was watching the Google box score on my phone, resting on my amp. Go, Pack, go. What a great way to experience a game. I love it. Jordan Dixon Reed, this is awesome. Best comment of the night. I'm drunk. Go, Pack, go. I salute you, sir. Patrick, thanks for the super chat. Nothing like wearing the winter warning uniforms during the summer. I keyed. We winning the Super Bowl. Go, Pack, go. Patrick, that's just the genius of the marketing group at 1265 Lombardi. All they do is come up with amazing, unbelievable, outside-the-box thinking that makes zero sense. Lewis, thanks again. When will an up-tempo style get us into trouble? My scared self of the Joe Barry era is tearing its ugly bead or a beard. If you're talking about the opponent going up tempo, I thought the Commanders got something going there when they started going up tempo. But with that said, I thought the Packers adjusted well. They've got mechanisms in their game plans and in their scheme to allow mostly Quay Walker, but kind of guys at all three levels to counter it. Mike, thank you so much. Hey, Nags, really looking forward to seeing more Savion. And don't forget, we might get Christian back in a month. So excited. Reminds me of 96, Nags. Tucker looking like a young kill out there. Yeah, Tucker is certainly going to be one of the headlines out of this game. He was outstanding tonight. Raha, thanks again. Those refs were bad, but at least they didn't call ticky-tack roughing penalties. Daniels was getting hit. I thought the same thing, man, because it was funny how ticky-tack they were down the field at times. But yeah, when it came to the quarterback, Parsons was hitting him after the ball had gone out a couple of times. No calls. That's football, or that's how football should be. But hell, in this day and age, yeah, you never know. Juice, what's up? Do we worry about the doink? We're not talking about the doink. We're not going to worry about the doink. We're not even going to contemplate the doink. The fact that he came back later and made a 6-yarder, I'll give him some grace on the doink. But really, if we wanted to miss 48-yard field goals in a pristine environment at Lambeau Field in September, we would have just kept Narv Dog. What are we doing out here? missing 40. 48? You got me all riled up. Kenny Moore, thank you, sir. Tough running for 8, but I was still impressed with him being so effective in critical short yardage situations, first downs, touchdowns, falling forward. That's the thing. The last part is key. His ability to always make a somewhat positive gain, even when he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. Just outstanding work, finding seams, find the cutback, or even when he's hitting the backfield, making sure he's out for that at least a yard gain. So you're not working in 2nd and 12 or something. And instead, you're in 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. It makes a big difference. And that is because he's so good. Lewis, what's up? Reggie had Sean Jones and Santana Dotson and Gilbert. Do we think we have that depth right now? Seems like we do. I don't doubt it for a moment along the edge. I think they got the rotation that could absolutely do what they're doing. But, man, along the interior, as Soder said earlier, that's the real test. Can it stand up? Can it improve as the season goes along? We'll see. Mike, what's up? Not to be the ref guy, but is Parsons getting held every play? Hopefully Tom comes back next week. Belton seems like more of a guard to me. Thoughts? I was pleasantly surprised at how well Belton held up. And yes, he's certainly got some work to do. They have kept him at tackle all summer long. They've been asked a couple times about potentially moving him inside to guard. Doesn't seem like that's on the offering anytime soon. I think he could play guard, although he is awfully tall for a potential guard. He's a big guy, obviously, but I think he's got the athleticism and the feet to play tackle. And if you have a tackle, you want to utilize that, right? It's, such a valuable position. But as far as Parsons getting held every play, somewhat, kind of. What are you going to do? You're not going to call it every time, right? Tim, thanks for Super Chat. Nags, you see the roid monster smoking weed? Tim, how could I miss it? Corey and I were laughing extremely hard on the watch party. Soder, thanks again. Best I have felt about a Packers start since 1978 in the original David Whitehurst. I'm kind of buzzed up. It's sarcasm, people. Go Pack Go. Oh, my God. I love it. We got Tom Grossi in the house. Tom, love you, brother. Great work on the Friday night Brazil stream on YouTube. You're the man. I will be back in Wisconsin next month, and you and I are going to hang. Dude, that is going to happen. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels and every post game. It's what we do. We're devoted to you, Packers fans worldwide. Please do me a monster favor and hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.